The Borderlands 4 Steam forums are apparently banning players for daring to question gender ideology and use of gendered language. And my goodness, we must be living in 1984 and not 2025. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. Friend of the channel, Dr. Disaster, has reached out to me with some curious information from a fan that let him know about being banned from the Steam forums for daring to ask a couple questions about if Borderlands 4 planned on using gender ideology and pronouns and gender ambiguity and all those things that modern gaming seems to not be able to avoid. And of course, Randy Pitchford's company is changing their logo to represent Pride Month and potentially pushing this game to $80 or more. And now we have Steam forums banning players for daring to ask questions about a game that, in this case, they love. Well, at least at one point. JT. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out smashjt.com for the full article breaking down all the information and screenshots that were passed along to me from this player that was apparently banned from the Steam forums for Borderlands 4 for daring to ask questions about a game that they planned on buying, which I guess you could imagine they don't plan on buying anymore. Friend of the channel, Dr. Disaster, tipped me off to something that every Borderlands fan should be raising an eyebrow. And that is if there are any left at this point, because sheesh, and I'll get to that later. But according to a German gamer who shared his experience across several messages, Gearbox appears to be going full woke with how they're approaching Borderlands 4 launch. And now they're apparently banning anyone who dares ask questions about it. This player, who is clearly a big fan of the series and invested enough to engage in the Steam forums, asked an extremely fair and straightforward innocent question. Would Borderlands 4 be using gendered language in the German translation the same way as Tiny Tina's Wonderland did? Specifically stating, in Tiny Tina's Wonderland, the whole language was gendered. That was horrible. So to my question, will it be here too? And if yes, do we get the option for just having normal language without gender speech? Which, honestly, taking a step back, is a very fair and based question to be asking a developer these days is, hey, I want to know what I'm buying. Can you guys just let me know what to expect out of this so I can make a decision beforehand and I can understand what it's going to include with it? And yeah, Gearbox was not a big fan of these questions, and I'll get to more of them in a second. But before I do, I got to give additional context for how the German language works, because I feel like this is very important here. In German, words like baker have masculine, feminine, and generic forms. But some of these ridiculous recent woke language pushes stemming from Marxism and communistic rootings have tried to force changes like baker innen to represent all genders, similar to how English language activists want to replace mankind with humankind or people kind. And yeah, those aren't catching any traction for good reason. And now they're trying to get to other languages and do the same type of stuff. And you gotta ask the question, where is all this coming from? You've had one warning and are banned for 24 hours for continuing to break community rules, and then shared a follow-up saying that they are now banned forever, with the ban reason saying, please do not spam the Steam discussion forums with questions that would lead to comments and discussion that does not follow Steam community guidelines. So now they are blaming him for asking a very valid question in 2025, because this is a thing. As much as these publishers and developers want to ignore the elephant in the room that everyone is talking about when it comes to things that are important when making a buying decision, it's not the person asking the question's fault for the fallout that follows because of your initial decisions. But that would require some accountability, which a lot of these wokies, let's be honest, all of these wokies still have no idea how to take any accountability for anything. So is anyone really surprised? Despite trying to go through the official support channels, including 2K support, this particular gamer was told in polite corporate speak that no one could help him. Steam forum discussions apparently are untouchable, and the posts were flagged as spam, even though they were repeated only because Gearbox refused to answer. So let's call this what it really is, a silencing tactic. Just look at how robotic and careless the repetitive reply he received from Gearbox themselves was. From Borderlands support, in response to, "My thread was again marked as spam and I think I will be banned again. Thanks for contacting 2K support. This is Taylor and I'm a supervisor here." So right off the bat, we got a supervisor. Clearly this is going to be someone qualified to take this question seriously and fix the problem. I mean, it's a supervisor, right? I understand that one of your recent Steam forum posts was marked as spam, and you're hoping customer support can step in. However, as mentioned in our previous conversation, our Steam team does not have any oversight or authority to influence or reverse decisions made on the Steam forums. Okay, well, what about how the decision got made on the Steam forum in the first place? Alas, as I mentioned in our last conversation, our customer support team does not have any oversight or abilities to influence or change decisions made on or regarding Steam forums, which I didn't just reread the same part. No, that is the same thing. You just copied and pasted twice in this email reply. Nice supervisor so far. If you have any technical issues or account related concerns, I'd be more than happy to assist with those. Alas, I'm unable to make any changes to your Steam forum account or its content. Thank you for your understanding. Best regards, 2K Taylor. So clearly a very automated bot reply where they just cut and pasted responses over and over into it to fill up the space and didn't give two craps about this person's actual concern. This is how the woke machine works. It doesn't debate, it censors. And if this level of sensitivity over a basic, reasonable question is any indication of the direction that Borderlands 4 is going, then fans are in for another ideological lecture disguised as a looter shooter. If asking whether forced gender speech will be used in localization of the game is a bannable offense, it's no longer about inclusion. No. It's all about control. In fact, you could argue that this is exactly why these companies keep doing these things. I'm going to go ahead and call it right now. Borderlands 4 is cooked. Gearbox as a company is cooked. 2K Games is screwed, and Take-Two only has Grand Theft Auto 6 right now to currently save them. This game is going to be an absolutely abhorrent disaster of epic proportions, and I don't think what just happened here is even scratching the surface as to the insane amount of transgressions that Borderlands 4 and CEO Randy Pitchford have been doing since this game has come to prominence after being announced. This is on top of Gearbox recently coming under fire from once again changing their logo to pride colors and also putting out what amounted to basically malware and spyware for your computer after updating the EULA in terms of service for Borderlands 2 and making that free, making people who don't do any research or don't know any better thinking that they're getting a free AAA game because yay, Borderlands 4, let's talk about the other games and get them for free and celebrate it. When in reality, this was an insidious attempt to gain access to people's computers to scrape through their data and details and try to monetize them better and potentially even sell their information. And I even talked about this in a live stream the other day, and a lot of people were saying that this is actually pretty commonplace, unfortunately, in PC gaming, where many EULAs and terms of service are asking for root level access to computers or something along those lines, wanting more and more information and ability to scrape and get more details, and players typically are fairly accepting of it unless there's some sort of pushback. And I look at this situation as, hey, if I ever hear a company is going to be needing root level access to scrape, getting multiplayer access, videos, everything that I do in the game, and sending it to their warehouse to scrape and figure out what to do with me and how to use these things to their own liking, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not the biggest fan of that, and I don't want to participate in that. And I'm not really alone on that either. Yeah, that didn't go over well with most PC gamers. And this is on top of Randy Pitchford going on talking about how if you are a true fan of Borderlands, you'll find a way to get your funds together and pay for this game. And he doesn't know how much it's going to cost when someone asks him if it's going to be $80, when all indications are pointing directly at that $80 number. And his apology was just as bad as his initial explanation. Yeah, I'd say at this point, Gearbox and 2K Games and parent company Take-Two Interactive are up a creek without a paddle right now with how they've treated the community. And I don't see a very bright future for Borderlands 4 if they continue going down this road. But I guess time will tell. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. If you guys want more information, check out smashjt.com for the full article. I will link this in the description below. Again, huge shout out to Dr. Disaster for the heads up on the story, because holy crap, this stuff should not ever happen to a customer, ever. If you guys appreciate what I'm doing, hit that join button. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.
Smash JT. Smash JT. Smash JT. Smash JT. Smash JT.